Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back once again. Today I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on how to build this farmhouse here, and this will sort of go along with a barn tutorial, although we'll have to get to that sometime in the future. This is pretty much the same shape as the house we did before, but it's definitely a lot bigger, and as you can see over here on the right hand side, you even have a little storage shed, so that's kind of cool. But unfortunately, for those of you following this thing along as a build series like I had originally planned, I guess that would still be an option, but it's definitely going to be tricky considering the old map we were on has sort of gone to shit. So I found a nice place to build on the old map we were using for the Grey Watch builds, so hopefully this should do for the time being. I do apologize for the change, but things happen, so I guess we gotta roll with it. Oh, and by the way, I'll make sure and put the map down in the description so you can download it and still try and follow this along as a build series. The coordinates I'm at now are going to be 300 for the X, and then the Z is going to be at -400. But I'm sure you guys are ready to see how to build this thing, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so really quick before we begin, make sure you take a look at the sort of layout we have going on right now so you can really figure out how much room you're going to need towards the end. And by the way, as we go up towards the second floor and even the roof, the building is going to get wider and wider, so just make sure you keep that in mind. And also, this stone over here is just some support I've placed in. It's definitely not necessary unless you have a cliff to the other side, sort of like I have here. And for those wondering, the door is going to be right here, so with that in mind, just kind of make sure you have the building facing the direction you want it to face. But once you've got that down, go ahead and take out your spruce wood logs, and we'll start by placing one here. Keep in mind, wherever I place down one block, you will want to raise it up so it's a pillar of 4. So it should look like that. Once you have the first one down, go ahead and skip a gap of 3, then place another pillar. Then go forward one and to the right one, and place yet another. And then we'll skip a gap of 1, place a log there. And then now we're going to be on the right side, and this is going to be divided into 2 gaps of 2, with 1 in the middle. And then towards the back, we'll just skip 1, skip another, and then move back 1 block. And this is going to be another section where there's 3 blocks in between, as you can see. And then on the left side of the build, it's going to be a gap of 1 right there. And then this next one is going to be 2 gaps of 1 with the pillar there in the middle. And once you guys have all of those pillars, so they're 4 blocks tall, go ahead and connect them with a crossbeam like this. And that's going to go in between each of the gaps. And once you have a crossbeam going all the way around the build, you can start placing in some sticky outy bits on the tops of each one of your pillars, and they'll even go on the corners. So once you have that done, it should be looking very similar to what you see right here, and after this we're going to do 2 quick steps. The first one is going to be to add a row of a stone material all the way along the bottom, except for this side here on the right. And by the way, I know many of you don't have the option to get this block. I'd say just use whatever you think looks best. And for the second step, just go ahead and place some upside down stairs beneath each one of the sticky outy bits, and I'd recommend leaving these out of the corners. Except for places like these where it looks like it could end up supporting something. And now that we've got that done, we'll begin filling in the rest of our walls, which is pretty simple. The only thing you need to watch out for is above the door, and for places like this, I do usually like to add a upside down stair, and then for the rest we'll just fill in with our bricks, although like everything else we've done throughout this, feel free to use whatever material you think looks best, and also try and leave this side open. And now what we're going to do is begin placing in our pillars for the second floor, and just keep in mind when placing these, instead of going above the previous ones, we're now going to add them on top of the sticky outy bits. And once again, just make sure they're 4 blocks tall. Also, one other thing to watch out for is instead of placing them above these corners, instead go a couple blocks back and place them there instead. I think the same thing is going to apply to the right side and also the far back corner, but everywhere else should be normal. Alright, so for the next step, it's going to be a little bit confusing, but hopefully we'll get it down correctly. So we're going to start filling in our walls. For this I like to use either white wool or sometimes some of the white or gray clays, and you could even do some mismatching and sort of combine them. But for filling these in, wherever you have a gap that's only 1 block wide, go ahead and place the blocks directly in them. But say if you have one wider than that, such as this section here, the front, or even the back, instead you can fill in the 1, but then for the big section, make sure you place it 1 block back. Hopefully that wasn't too hard to follow, but just in case it was a little bit tricky, I'll show you guys the inside really quick, so you can see everything kind of lines up and is flush. And on the outside, all the corners are filled in, yet for the bigger gaps, the walls are still pushed back 1 block to give us a little bit of extra detail. At this point, some of the walls are looking a bit weird, sort of like they're just floating in midair, so for those, we're going to place a half slab underneath them. And for the bigger walls, what we'll do is something a little bit different. When you have just a 2 wide gap, I like to do kind of a mixture between stairs and half slabs. So for this case, we'll do something like this. And then for the ones that are 3 blocks wide, I'll do a stair on either side and then a half slab in the middle. And that pretty much applies for all around the build. Also, on the ones where the wall's pushed back, you may want to place something in the upper corners as well. That way it looks like the upper beam is also being supported. And now really quick, I'll go around and add some decorations in the gaps and also place in my windows. And I'll just speed this up so you guys can get a quick glimpse of how you may want to try it. And once you guys have got all your windows in, you'll notice there is going to end up being a gap above them. So when you have cases like that, just go ahead and fill in a row of the spruce wood planks above. Now that all that's done, we're going to start shaping our roof. So for the one right above the door, we're going to go up 2 on either side like that, and then 1 up in the middle. And this is going to be the exact same over here on the back for this side, and also for right here. And for the smaller sections, such as this one here, you'll just place 1, and that applies for the one on the left side as well. For the biggest roof, you can see that one over there is going to be the shape, so it goes up 2, and then up 1. And for the other side, what we're going to do is continue this beam all the way across, and we'll start out here by going up 2 again, and then up 1, and that's just going to go back down on the other side. So now, another step I like to do that definitely is not necessary is connect each one of these ones together. So say for something like this, I'll go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So those ones are all nice and lined up. And then for something like this smaller one, you'll just go like that. And then the same rule kind of applies for everywhere else. I also noticed that the back here is looking rather big and open, so you don't have to do this, but it might be nicer if you add 1 more roof section, and it'll just be a real simple one like that. So to try and make things go a little bit quicker, where we have roofs like these where it's the exact same for at least 3 of them, I'm only going to show you how to do 1, and then you'll just have to kind of copy it over to all the rest. And obviously if there's any really tricky parts, I'll make sure and show you those. But for the biggest one here on the front, what we'll do is start by placing a spruce wood plank on that side and also the other one as well. And then from there we'll place 2 more stairs above it. Same thing on the other side. And then also 1 upside down stair below on both ends, and 1 more on the outside of that. And also before you finish up, make sure you also place in 2 more upside down stairs beneath each of those. And then for our design, which is going to apply to every single other roof, you'll start by adding in a half slab on the top half there, then a full block, then a stair on the front face of that, and then a half slab to finish everything off. Alright, I've got each of the other roofs finished up and kind of found the tricky parts, but one other thing we'll need to do before we check those out is make sure we actually have some of these areas connected. So for this side you'll do something like that, obviously, and then for the back side here, you may just want to attach 1 more stair there for now. For the changes though, I found that instead of adding a upside down stair here, you're actually going to need to switch it to a full block, and then the same thing kind of goes over here on the back side as well. And while we're back here, we'll try to knock out this really quick. So for starters, you'll place a full block here in the corner, then do a stair on the other side of that, and then just kind of work your way up from there, and then back down on the other side. And then once again, our design is going to go on the top, and then make sure you also place in your upside down stairs below those. And then for the bigger side, we're going to start with the easy end, because I'm sure as you can tell, this area over here is going to be rather tricky. So for starters here, you'll place a stair, then do a full block, and you can also add this a couple blocks up as well, and then do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. And above each of these, you can place a stair, and then one more on the top. And just kind of go back down on the other side doing that same pattern. So once again, one stair above each of the full blocks, and then one at the very bottom to finish that off. And like always, don't forget to place in your upside down stairs. Like I mentioned, the other side was definitely the easier out of the two. So for this end, what we'll do is place a stair here, then another one above, and if you wanted to, you could even place a half slab on the other end of the design, considering that's going to be the case for each and every one of the other sections. So go ahead and fill those all in, if you can remember. And also, don't forget to place in your upside down stair, the design at the top, and then as you go back down on the other side, it'll be 2 stairs, then a full block, then another stair, and then one more full block to finish that off. And once again, instead of placing an upside down stair here, we'll do a full block and then stair at the top. Those were definitely the trickiest out of all the roofs, so now we're going to move on to the easiest parts. For this one, we'll do a full block in the corner, then 3 stairs on this side, then we'll start going up, same thing on the other side, and then just make sure to place the design in the middle and also add in your upside down stairs. Same things pretty much got to apply for the back side as well. So like I mentioned earlier, hopefully you guys have gotten in your half slabs on the other ends of each of the designs. Once those are in though, we can start connecting these things and making things look a little bit better. So for this one, it's probably the simplest. You'll just place in 1 stair so the top is all covered. However, some of these are going to be quite a bit more tricky. Usually I just like to throw in some stairs like this, although once you wanted to actually start intervening with the other sections, you'll need to kind of line it up with the outlines on each of the ends. So this one's going to be something like that. However, once you get to these, this is where it really starts to get a bit troublesome. So for this one, we'll do 2 stairs, then 2 full blocks, and then 2 more stairs to finish that one off. And hopefully that was the trickiest one, so by now you should pretty much know how to do all of the others. And really quick, just in case you didn't get them down that easily, I'll fly around and show you how mine turned out really quick. And after doing this, you should notice, well, obviously this one's open here, but we're going to leave that for now since I just plan on filling it in with my roof material. But for the top, what I'm going to do is place a half slab right there in the middle. Then we'll do a stair like this on either side, and then the rest of them we can just face out. For filling in the main portion of the roof, please feel free to use whatever material you think looks best. I'm actually going to be using the clay blocks, and obviously the Conquest mod has given me the option to use them in stairs. I know that's not available in default, so if you want to use full blocks and stairs as sort of a mixture, you could always try a different wood material. I know that would look good. Or if you wanted something easy and still are set on using the clay, feel free to just do all full blocks. It's really not that difficult, but if you do want to use stairs, I'd say just try and match them up with the spruce wood blocks on the outside, and if you just follow that pattern, you should be good all around the roof. And for corners like these, they still should match up pretty easily. So now at this point, just in case you want something to follow along with, I'll go ahead and fast forward through me filling in the rest of it. Hopefully by seeing that, it made things at least a little bit easier, but just in case, I'll fly around one last time so you can see everything. Occasionally problems like this will happen, so just fill that in with a full block and it should look normal. One last thing we need to do is start filling in the rest of our gaps. So for places like these, I recommend just something like that. And same thing with the bigger ones. Now for the biggest, what I like to do is raise this up one more, then I'll just fly inside. Same thing over here. And what we'll do is fill in a row of white wool one block back. Another quick thing over on the back side here, I noticed it was looking a little bit plain and boring, so really you can place whatever you want here, but I just decided to throw in this simple roof, so if you want to copy it you can. Another area that looks a bit plain is up here, so feel free to just throw in some fences, and like I said, you could even put a window right there, something like that maybe. And I'm pretty sure that should be everything that needs to be edited, just a little bit. I guess up here too, not many people are going to see it, but you might just want to fix this up a bit. I wouldn't say you need a window up there, but maybe just a little something extra. Also notice we have left this side open the entire time, and trust me, I haven't forgotten about it. So what I'm going to do is turn this into a little storage shed that's actually part of the house. So for this, I'll just do a layer of stone across the bottom, and then brick for the rest of it. If you want to add a little bit more detail, you could even throw one more spruce wood beam in there, but for now I'm just going to leave it like this. And then to give this outside area just a little bit more detail, I'll add some support in the corners, and you could leave this open entirely as one, or you could even divide it there in the middle. Maybe turn this one into a little bit of a stable, throw a horse in here, maybe some water in the back corner. And then this one would be more so for, I guess, extra wood storage or something. Really completely up to you. Honestly, we could go on forever, but I'll try to leave it at this one last detail. There are certain sections where you can see it's pretty big compared to other small ones, and on these you don't have to, but it might be a nice idea to place in some more stairs on the bottom, just to make it look like it has a little bit more support. Once again, completely up to you, but that's just one more tip I would give. For those of you either using the Conquest mod or just the texture pack alone, I have decided to add in quite a bit of these little extra blocks here to try and give the build some more detail, and I think it's turned out quite well. As you can see, it's not so plain and white anymore. And one more thing I did forget to mention was for the blocks up top, if the wall is pushed back below, try and do the same thing for the one above. And if you want, you can add a fence in like I've done here. But anyways guys, that should do it for today. I do apologize for the whole map change. I know it kind of sucks, but just one of those things you have to deal with. Please feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments. Like I said at the beginning, this build is pretty much the same shape as our other house, just quite a bit bigger, so hopefully that should give you quite a bit more room when it comes to the interior. And also for our next build, we're going to be doing a barn. So I probably should have told you this earlier, but you may want to leave room for that since that kind of goes along with the whole farmhouse thing. And then hopefully sometime in the future, I'll show you guys how to make fields of wheat and I guess other types of stuff. Maybe a pumpkin patch or something, that could be cool. But once again, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure and let me know any ideas you have for future builds or even just improvements we could make to this one. But yeah, thanks again for watching guys, and as always, I will see you in the next one.